WS2K, the squad.
It's looking like a pretty regular day in Hawkins. 55 degrees, low chance of rain, medium chance of arrest, high chance of helicopters, but general banality aside, it's an exciting day.
Welcome to the Stuff and Things podcast. Your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a special episode of the Stuff and Things podcast. It's Stranger Thangs once again as we're talking Season 5 Volume 2. I am joined therefore by my daughter, Phoebe.
She's back.
Okay, welcome back kid, you alright?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. We're going to dive straight in because there's a lot to talk about. But I think we need to start with like an initial overview. So it was 3 episodes this time. Episodes 5, 6 and 7. It is tradition on this show.
I knew it.
And so the title of episode 5 was...
Was that Shock Jock?
You are correct, yes.
Yeah.
The title of episode 6 was...
Oh, it was something like Escape Camzots to escape the escape, wanting to escape Cam...
I mean, you're kind of getting the words, but not escape from Camazots.
Yeah, I got that right.
I'll give you that. And title of episode 7 was...
The Bridge?
Correct. Well done, yes. I feel like you'll finally get this on the next one. Like you'll be prepared with the titles. But yeah, so 3 episodes this time, and I think it's important we start with the kind of overall reaction because you stayed up to watch. So the minute they were released, I watched them the following morning back to back. So as soon as I was going to watch them. I think your overriding reaction was underwhelmed. Am I right in saying that?
I thought it was disappointment, and maybe there's like a snippet of that somewhere, but I think I was just a little bit underwhelmed. It was built up so much, and it's a show that I love, and I was just expecting... For the final series, they've been saying so much is going to happen. The Duff brothers said, Dark Christmas. I was like, holy moly, this is going to be like a ride. And I was watching it, and I was just like...
Do you think it's perhaps an issue of expectation versus reality?
I think that comes into it. I also think the fact that they split it up for release, because these kind of are build-up episodes to the finale. So without the finale, on their own, they're just a bit, they've not got a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I want to, the point you just raised there, I want to kind of end the podcast with, which is, I think these 3 episodes could be judged very, very differently once the finale comes out. But, so my reaction, so I enjoyed them, but it was funny because my reaction didn't change when I saw the online reaction, which was unbelievably negative.
Yeah. But
I did just kind of think, maybe I've got stuff a little bit wrong. Because there was bits I liked, bits I thought was a bit silly, and but that's pretty normal. And then it was just like I saw the sheer weight of anger and sort of frustration from people, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I do understand some of that. Like, I do understand the fact that we went into these 3 episodes largely preparing for character deaths.
Yeah.
Which still haven't come, which means the finale is either going to be a bloodbath or they've just completely wound us up the whole time and everyone's safe. Which is fine, but it does feel like when you're watching a show like this or when you're heading towards the finale, the stakes need to go up. And so the way of doing that, there were a couple of occasions where you looked at it and you thought, so-and-so could be gone here. So focusing on the episode Shock Jock to begin with, there's something. I mean, because I sort of write notes as I go, as you know. And there was something I wanted to put to you because there's this weird thing as well, which is Millie Bobby Brown playing 11, being the character that launched her, etc. There was so much press for a while that one of the problems going into the final season was her basically being done with it and wanting it to be in the past. The problem is with press like that is you then... I mean, only several people will know how true that is, her being one of them. But the problem is you do tend to slightly overanalyze things. At least I think you do, because it's in your mind going into it. If I said to you, it feels like she's phoning this in, do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, not giving it.
Yeah, because there's someone, again, and like I'm never ever going to say things about appearance of people and stuff like that, but there's this whole thing about lip filler, and she's now giving face in every single scene.
Serving face.
Serving face, is that
Mogging,
the right?
Those are the terms.
Thank you.
Some of.
It's difficult because to me, when I watched the 3 episodes, she didn't have that much in it that I was invested in, and like she should be really probably the key character.
Yeah, I don't know if some of the, like, as an actor for Millie Bobby Brown or Millie Bonnie Bon Jovi. I think that's what she is now. Don't really know. But I think for her, because there was an interview, and like you said, this could be the over-analysing, looking too much into it, where she was like, they were talking about the ending for her character, and she kind of pulled a face. She didn't seem happy, and whenever they've sort of talked about like stuff to do with the writing of her character this season, it's been sort of like her, I'm not going to tell the press, but she sort of seemed a bit like underlying miffed, and there were things where she was like, I've got these powers, and now they're just handing them out like willy-nilly to like, you know, give them to Will and all of that. And so I do feel like maybe if her slight lack of commitment is from her frustration.
It's hard because, like with anything, once the finale airs, you can judge all of it. It's like series like this, the way they're written on Netflix, are designed to be binge watched, and they've kind of separated out, which I know why they've done it, and that's fine. But with the finale, it's almost like you're judging a film without watching the final scenes, if you know what I mean. So it's like, I get that you need to wait because perhaps there's characterization which will then make sense and stuff, but it does just feel a little bit weird.
How much she's been made a side character. And I feel like a lot of the main ones have been made, like, Mike was described to have lots of emotional weight this series, you know, be really significant.
Yeah.
I've seen online his emotional weight be compared to a feather, and I'd say that's fairly accurate. Because, you know what, his family is in hospital, but he didn't really have that much of a reaction to it. He was just getting coffee from a vending machine. He's just sort of waltzed about, made a couple of plans, but he's really not been that relevant, and he's one of the core people.
You can speak to this a lot more than me, and so your opinion will carry more weight. Do you think it could be a case of, and it's going to sound bitchy from me, but the kids, obviously cast as young kids, simply haven't grown up to be as actors who are capable of doing the type of things to convey the emotion? Or do you think it's this weird... I mean, like, the whole season so far seems to have this weird kind of lens to it, which, again, there's so many theories as why that could be, and maybe the finale will kind of iron that out, but, what do you think? Because, like, you were saying that about the emotional weight, but you think about it, his younger sister is taken, his parents are both hospitalised, fighting for their lives. He should be carrying a lot of emotional weight there. But you're right, his actions and the way he's behaving doesn't look that way.
I mean, potentially. I feel like that is a potential. I think there's also a potential of, unfortunately, I think a lot of the actors are kind of over the series, which is why, you know, the Duffer Brothers wanted it to be longer, and it's had to be cut to 5 series. So I just get the impression while watching this that there's something that happened on set. Obviously, there was a whole rumour of something with Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour. We don't really know what that was. No. There's just so many... Like, I'm watching it, and occasionally I feel broken from it because I feel like I'm watching the actor. Like, occasionally I'll look at it and I'll go, that's not 11. I can tell that's Millie. Yeah. And it kind of... There's a couple of bits where it's really taking me out of it because I'm like, this doesn't feel like a continued character from what we'd seen before.
Yeah, I do think the length of time between the seasons hasn't helped with that.
Yeah.
And I also think the time jump in the show, which I understand why they had to do, for obvious reasons. Everyone looks so much older. If you just tried to ignore that, you'd be mad. It kind of lends this into this constant, what happened during this time, because the last time we saw you all, you were united, happy to see each other, and now you're not. And there's so many instances in these 3 episodes where it's like, that person didn't react to that. Why didn't they react?
Yeah, there's so many things where it would just have taken. It would have been a bit of like, you know, a TV show niche, but all it would have needed was like a one line, hang a lantern on it, just so it's addressed. Like a lot of people's reaction to Hopper not being dead.
I agree with that. That's,
Pardon?
Yeah, the fact that Hopper's just walking around and no one seems to bat an eyelid at that is. I mean, there's a lot of things there which don't really make a lot of sense. But again, it's this weird, you know, you only got so much time. And also, it would appear, judging by leaks and things, that there was a lot cut from these 3 episodes.
Yeah. Which there's now petitions about to be released.
Release the Duffer Brothers cut. Yeah, I've seen these things. So
yeah, I think a lot of people want to see the cutscenes, and a lot of people are annoyed because the length of time it's taken, the amount of editing mistakes, and also poor CGI. It feels like it's gone downhill.
Speaking of editing mistakes,
Under Armour?
They fixed it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. They've clearly been looking online.
Yeah, so in one of the scenes, young Holly is breaking free from Vecna's sort of lair, and when she punches through, one of her arms got an Under Armour
I'm guessing it was something to keep her warm, like an undershirt
literally
or something.
It was, but they forgot to edit out the logo, which obviously was a plan from the
watching
90s.
That at 2 a.m, I sat back, I was like, is that a mistake? I paused it, I got my phone, because obviously I googled, was Under Armour a thing
so you
at this time?
out,
and then I put my phone down and I was like, oh dear. Oh.
Well, what's funny is because I then saw someone shared the scene with it completely gone.
Yeah,
and I was like,
saw that.
I don't know if that's real, because people, you know, the way AI works now. So I went back to the episode and found it, and it has been edited out. It has been scrubbed. Funny. Yeah, that did make me laugh. So, Duffer Brothers, what mistake? What are you talking about? No, I don't know what you're on about. So, in Shock Jock, there's a moment where 11 and Hopper obviously get 8, and they escape from the military base.
Yep.
It is the fallout from the fact that 11 saw that Hopper basically had a suicide vest and was planning to walk in there and blow him up. Now, the reason why I want to kind of just highlight that before we move into the rest of the episode is 11's mad at him over that.
But it's still such a short dialogue.
It is really not a lot to that. And
that could have... given the fact she's a main character, that would have been a duologue between 2 characters that I would have wanted to watch. That could have been like a nice emotional father-daughter scene, but no, it kind of was just a 1-2 line thing.
8 is talking. So there's a little nod in here, which is kind of funny because the fans had this theory of Eddie still being in Stranger Things because he was eaten by demobats. And there's a big character in Dungeons and Dragons, it's a vampire, and so a lot of people were like, oh, Eddie's going to be this character with Vecna, this vampire character. So we get this moment where Eight's talking about her blood being taken by the doctor and likens her to a vampire, and I thought, okay, that's quite cool. That's quite a nice little...
Yeah.
Yeah, just going to stick that there. So basically, what's happening is we learn that all of the children in that lab who had the abilities basically came from a blood transfusion given to their mothers in pregnancy, and the blood all came from Henry. So they are all, in essence, having these abilities via Henry. We also then see, or Eight then explains that the one that was like the closest to him was L.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like the one that kind of won, if you like, to his abilities. You raised something with me which I hadn't really considered when watching it, is that Eight doesn't have an ability that Henry does.
Yeah. So when we see the children in all of the season 4 flashbacks, it's all sort of the telekinesis or like the envisioning things and all of that. But Eight's got the sort of making up imaginary things. So is that either something completely different, or is that something Henry has and we've not seen? Does Henry just not use that? Because if I was Vecna, that would be great. Or is that to do with like when he's making Max think he's seeing his brother? Because then I thought that was just like a memory thing, but is that meant to be that power?
Again, it's worth highlighting because I think the character of Eight... See, when we recorded our first show on this, the overriding theory was, Eight's in it. Okay. 8 plus 11 plus...
You loved that theory.
Well, that whole D&D dice theory. It was kind of like... It was kind of nailed on.
They're gonna join together and like...
But don't you think that once she was reintroduced, it's kind of like, okay, that's obvious. That's obviously where they were going with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, after watching these next 3 episodes...
I want to rip her head off. She's driving me up the wall.
That's you and Hopper, it would seem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting because I'm not entirely sure now, and I'm not entirely... And there's a lot there that I don't realise. Nancy, Steve, Dustin and Jonathan, we joked when we finished our last show that Hopper and Elle kind of just went, right, stay there, and then they would have been twiddling their thumbs.
They did not stay there.
They did not stay there. So Hopper and Elle and everyone escaped to get to them, and they're gone. They've gone to the old water power building, the lab, which is in the Upside Down. And they get there. The ongoing Steve and Dustin bitchiness to each other. We want to change teams this time.
Yeah.
And Nancy, Steve's like, I'll go with Nancy. Jonathan's like, really, dude? But Nancy puts her foot down. She's like, no, me and Jonathan are going to go this way. You and Dustin go this way. So we have these 2 separate paths. So Nancy and Jonathan go off. They find melty stuff. They find soldiers have been killed by melty stuff. They have their arc. We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
Steve and Dustin have... They continue to argue, and Steve kind of snaps at him.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a big Steve fan.
Yeah.
You're Team Steve. What did you think about what Steve said to him, and what did you think about their interaction at this point?
Way Steve went about it, maybe not great. Maybe should have been a bit more, comforting. But I think what Steve's been trying to do is get a confession out of Dustin that Dustin's kind of been sort of enjoying the pain and feels like he needs to suffer because of this grief, and I feel like that's what he was trying to get at. I also agree that Eddie... I was never a massive Eddie fan. I never had anything against him until the fans kind of went weird. But Eddie... He didn't really save anyone. He might have... I have to kind of agree. Dare I say, maybe you could argue save Dustin, but But, like, then again, I don't think he really did. They just had to hold the thing down and stop the bats getting through into the real world. But I don't even think the bats would go into the real world.
I am shook.
So,
I am shook that you.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not surprised. Whatever Steve says, Steve's right.
Oh,
yeah.
shut up.
Oh, Steve. He looked at her at Glastonbury, by the way, everybody.
Not Steve when he was Joe. FYI.
FYI, yes, I didn't think Steve was there. But Joe singing his song looked right at you.
Yep.
Good moment. Yeah.
Great time.
Yeah, besties.
But I will... The Dustin and Steve scenes, this past few episodes, have been what's most engaged me. And I know that sounds easy to say given the fact they are two of my favourite characters.
Yeah.
But Dustin was kind of annoying me a little bit last time.
Yeah, everybody. He was annoying everyone.
But now I feel bad that he annoyed me. I'm like, oh, poor Dusty Bun. Like, you can be in my liked characters again. I feel like when Dustin went into fight, I was like, whoa, that was one of the few moments that, actually excited me, engaged me. I did, because the entire time I was watching, like, they're gonna have to kill people. I'm expecting a dark Christmas here.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to die. I was worried in that scene that something was going to go too far, something was going to go wrong, someone was going to accidentally do something. But but that was a good scene.
No, I agree. No,
and I think a necessary scene.
No, massively. I think it was, so the physical fight, I think there's little details in this which I like. Steve doesn't fight back. Steve just keeps trying to push him away.
Yeah.
Steve probably realises he very much provoked that reaction. But it's not okay. Like, you can argue, you can shout at each other, but Dustin actually going for him was over the line.
Yeah.
The reason why they're there is because Dustin has a theory about the walls around Hawkins. He saw it as like a shield that's protecting Vecna, and they need to be able to bring down the shield. He likens it to the shield in Star Wars. Return of the Jedi, which made me very happy.
Steve talks about the teddy bears.
Yes,
which he actually is a reference to him at the end of season 3 when they're trying to get a new job at the film place, and he talks about his favourite film having the teddy bears. Yeah. Phoebe knows her stuff.
Yeah, you know your Steve. So they have this. We have this super emotional moment. We'll talk through both these scenes. So Dustin, Nancy, and Jonathan go to the roof. Sorry, this makes me laugh. Nancy, bless her heart.
No, not bless her heart.
No,
I've decided I don't like her again.
Okay.
Not bless her heart.
Nancy, for me, bless her heart, seems to have this very American theory that if you're not understanding something, shoot it.
Ooh.
And that creates, there's these exotic particles which it's kind of funny and I like the way they did this. Dustin has found the Dr. Brenner's notebook. Dustin's going through it and suddenly makes a realization that he was wrong. This isn't a shield. This is
this is way more.
this is way bigger, way more complicated. And the radio, unfortunately, their walkie-talkies, which by
the antenna snapped
in their fight, their scuffle.
Yeah.
And he needs to try and reach Nancy because he knows Nancy well enough that, Nancy spots something that looks weird. Nancy's going to shoot it.
Yeah.
Nancy does do exactly that.
Right, the walkie-talkie, Jonathan picks it up because he can hear something. Dustin is very clearly saying, don't step away, don't touch it, stay away from the thing on the wherever we're coming, stay away. And Jonathan's like, oh, Nancy, I don't know what he's saying, I can't hear him. I guess you could just shoot it, I guess.
Yeah.
What? It got, even the captions on Netflix can pick up the words that Dustin is bloody saying. Therefore, you can hear him. You incompetent little man.
You are not alone in people saying,
and that's happened
a
a couple of times through the series. Can I point out?
Yeah, people have been very quick to point out that why is it we as the audience can understand every word that's being said by these broken radio transmissions, but no one else seemingly can. I don't know. That this is like one of those kind of in the moment that you pick up on it. We're watching it. They're like, you know, over noisy. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, it is funny though, because you could hear him clearly saying, "Don't do anything," and they're just like, shoot it. Nancy does do what Nancy does, shoots it. There is a very funny edit though.
Yeah, I pointed this out to you.
Yes, you did.
But no, we'll come on to that later because, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so she does shoot it. It does create this kind of exotic particle, like.
They have an absolute meltdown.
Meltdown!
Oh my god, I'm smart.
Yeah, it is an absolute meltdown. And yeah, it is. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's just, the building is like literally melting.
It's like it's
them.
because the matter, like the physical matter, is responding. The people that weren't getting it, they were like hating on this scene. I was like, okay, well, I actually understand the scene. Like, I'm not gonna hate just for the sake of hating. This did kind of make sense, you know. Because people were like, why was the wax doing that? I was like, where have you got wax from? Whoa.
Yeah. Well, it was like candle wax melting.
Yeah,
which
but...
I know, yeah. I get it. It was weird, but... So, the thing that made me laugh is after she shot it and this happened, suddenly you realised all those soldiers that were melted into the walls and stuff. It's basically because one of them clearly did the same damn thing.
Yeah.
And then they all got caught in it. So... Nancy and Jonathan are caught in this room that's melting. Everything's kind of falling in on top of them.
They're on this table.
They're on a table. The
they
melted,
can't get out.
Yeah, they're stuck. So they decide that they're going to be honest with each other, and they have this big emotional scene where he talks about how he was going to ask her to marry him, but clearly that was an awful idea because they're not actually right for each other. And they break up.
Apparently.
Well, so yeah. Now, this is the thing I was going to say to you. When you watched it live, did you get that? Oh, they've broken up, or did you just think they've agreed they're not in a marriage place, but they're?
Well, when that was happening, I was just thinking they're gonna die. They're gonna die. Oh my god, this is gonna be like, what's Steve gonna think? They didn't die. Spoiler. But then, like, I kind of was less focused on what they were... I wasn't less focused, but I was kind of waiting for the death moment.
Yeah.
But I did not pick up on breakup. I thought it was like we're not at a marriage place.
Yeah,
that's a silly suggestion.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was with it. But then, yeah, no, they broke up. The Duffer Brothers even had to come out and confirm it, which is never a good thing. You got to reflect on your writing when that happens, because there was several TV shows years ago, and all of them started doing companion podcasts that went with it. So it was like the minute the episode finishes, the showrunners on our show, you can ask questions. And there was so The Walking Dead had a TV show that followed it called The Talking Dead.
Yeah.
And it went from fun cast interviews when the show was really, really good to basically being the directors of the episodes coming on having to explain stuff every week. And that was when you realise that they'd lost it completely.
Yeah.
Like, people just are not following what they're trying to do. So the companion show became this kind of, okay, now you've watched the episode, we'll tell you what you should have seen. It's like, well, we should notice. Like, if we're not noticing, that's on you.
Yeah, there's a lot of Stranger Things on Netflix accounts that are posting Stranger Things related content, and they're posting a lot of, did you notice this? And it's like, no. Like, if you shouldn't be having to point that out.
No,
to me.
It is, it's not great. With everything melting, Steve is trying to get to Nancy because, Steve, Nancy.
when they made fun of Steve's 6 nuggets and called it a Happy Meal, Nancy, come on, you cannot be leading Steve. Bloody Nancy! Why did I like her last volume? Honestly.
Right. So now we know why you've gone off her again.
Leading Steve on, leading Jonathan on, but you don't really want either. Oh.
But we get one of the best scenes, which is Dustin finally grabbing Steve and
by the
saving
ladder.
Him,
yeah.
by the way, and pointing out that he like just breaks down completely. Like, I can't lose you. Like, I can't go through this again. And at that point, Steve, like, this is what he needed him to do, and they hug it out. They're bros again. It's all good. What do you think to the throwing of the ring and it landing on solid matter and everything being there? Because I'm going to tell you the theory that exists in the fandom, and then I'd like you to kind of give how you took it, because I think you read it the exact same way as I did. But the theory that's in the fandom is that all of this in the Upside Down, the Abyss, as we're going to move on to, is all under some sort of control from Vecna or the Mind Flayer, and all of it is kind of happening for reasons. And basically, to prevent dying in amongst all that goop, they had to be honest with each other, and it was their honesty and their love and all that stuff that brought that about. That is a overriding fan theory. What did you think it was?
That theory is absolute bollocks. Sorry if anyone listening has that theory, and if it turns out to be right, I'm really going to have to go into hiding. But I think if the Duffer Brothers go with that, come on, no. I feel like that thing was either, one, just kind of convenience, they weren't going to kill the characters or whatever, but the exotic matter had stopped, having its moment, therefore the matter, the physical matter around them was no longer struggling and melting. Or, maybe the Duff Brothers just ran out of budget with their millions and millions, spent it all on their dodgy CGI. They couldn't make the room melt anymore. No. But no, it is not about...
Not peace and love saves the day, no. Okay. All right, well, no, I mean, I agree with you, but I just wanted to put it out there. Away from them then, delightful Derek, as you like him to be known, is trying to distract Vecna so Max and Holly can escape. I
found it mean that they didn't let Derek go with them. He's like, I'm best friends with Mike, Mrs. Byers, Miss Robin, like, can I come with you? And they're like, no, you need to be a dipshit. And he's like, okay.
Well, I mean, he didn't say much convincing to be himself. We have the great scene where Vecna grabs him, and
your mom.
Who gave you this map? Your mum, which was very 80s. Just like that is the standard response. Yeah, your mum. So Derek is shown. Well, actually,
all of his family dead.
That is Vecna. Although again, it's in this dream world. But he is showing him his parents' murder.
So maybe that is 8 powers.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. We'll have to analyse that. But yeah, so he shows him parents being dead.
Which, you know what? They might be, because they're still tied up in that barn. You know what? It might have already happened, Derek. Just cut your losses and keep going.
Scary. So yeah, scares dipshit Derek.
Delightful Derek.
Back to dipshit. And Derek then therefore falls back in line, which
he got hated on for online. I'm gonna point out, and I know it's not obvious because they've all been casted kind of too old. They are meant to be like 7-8 years old. Picture yourself at 7 years old. You're kind of scared anyway. You've been told all about these demons, that the world is ending, but you're trying to be brave. You're trying to help people, and then you get shown all of your family dead. And told, this is what's going to happen if you don't listen to me, while you're being strangled on the ground. Yeah. I'm kind of, not every character in Stranger Things has to be some crazy hero. Yeah. Like that was quite a realistic response to be like, I'm gonna step back.
No, I agree. No, because Derek fails in distracting Vecna, Max and Holly's escape plan which they're going through Henry's memories. And Holly's very good in this, very kind of forthright and sort of, this is what we're going to do, and like marching around, which made me laugh, quite a precocious little child. While this is going on, Will, Mike, Lucas, Robin, Murray, Joyce, and Erica. See how many characters there are kicking around?
Yeah, it's getting a bit crikey.
There are two plans. One, they're going to cook a Demogorgon, so brings it back to life and lets Will enter the hive mind to see what's going on. And plan two is to go wake up the teacher, Mr. Clark, to help build one of these sensors that Dustin made so they can find people in the Upside Down. Now, those two plans are done simultaneously. Erica and Murray are the team that go off to get Mr. Clark. That's quite a funny scene.
Yeah.
You did point something out to me, though, which is kind of funny now because I can't unsee it, which is Erica's like, I need you to help you with this. I need you to help me. And he's like, go away, go back to bed, child. Dustin's in trouble. Oh, okay, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, whoa, easy. That's not okay. Now, the other plan to cook a demo, so there's two parts to this. It does work. It does allow Will to go into the hive mind, which we'll step into. But the second part is when it starts to go wrong, the whole thing is to increase the power and kill the demo.
Yeah.
But what happens is you see the hive mind leave that Demogorgon and just float up into the air.
Now it's just in Hawkins.
Yeah,
so
it's like no one worried about that.
Yeah, people aren't talking about that online. It's just kind of floating about, you know.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fine.
Maybe infecting, someone else.
Like, wasn't that like one of the main stories of like season 3 of like it got into rats and then it started taking over people.
Yeah.
And then like turned into that.
And then it physicalized itself into like the meat flayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's happening again. Everyone just kind of, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
So that happened. Also, things that I saw, and don't know if it's an editing mistake, but the little dial for the voltage in episode 1, the little pointer was grey. In that episode was red, and people are like, is that an editing mistake or is that significant?
Yeah, so it's pointed out a few places where there's stuff like that and people are wondering why that could be. My fear is there's just
mistakes.
Yeah, because of the Under Armour thing, I'm now thinking that there's...
I want to go back and check if they changed the colour.
Yeah, that's worth taking a look at that as well. Now, Vecna is hunting down Max and Holly. Max and Holly are right at a door thinking they're about to escape, and he shuts the door. He's locking it. He's like chasing them. Will gets in and manages to enter Vecna. I think this is probably one of the better scenes. It's really kind of...
I think the first chunk of the volume was the better chunk.
Yeah. So Will takes control of Vecna and breaks his leg, like when he snaps the Demogorgons, and then manages to speak through him to tell Max to run, which was very cool.
Yeah.
What do you... So this is like a kind of real outrageous thing. A lot of people have pointed out that the way they shot that, Vecna's actually looking at the audience. He's looking directly at the camera. I think
that's just coincidence.
Overanalyzing it.
Yeah, I feel like... Because there was another point where someone pointed out, when Lucas says, I don't believe in coincidences, people are like, he's looking a bit at the camera. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like, as much as I love the show and I want to be like, the Duff Brothers have thought about all of this, this, and this, and this. Yeah. I feel like we're overanalyzing to try and save it.
Yeah, like, until the finale lands, we're not going to be 100%. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in it which feels a little bit kind of loose. Will is in Vecna, but Vecna then overpowers him. kicks him out. They cook the Demogorgon, but Will's kind of in a trance.
Yeah. Similar to like stuff that happened in season 2.
You got it. We get to see this kind of part of this scene where in this dreamscape, so now in Vecna's mind, Vecna says to him, like, you know, I'm going to use you one more time.
Last time.
What,
Get
last
it right.
time? Last
God.
time, okay. All right. Jeez. Yeah, no, it's actually in my notes one last time as well. I misread it. We know, because as the episode develops, he's done that to find Max in the real world.
I feel like it's got to be more than that. This is part of my... I'm not going to say a theory. It's not really a theory. Just like a... I feel like the amount that Will was sort of, you know, bleeding out of, you know, his face, crevices, like the amount of time he was there and Vecna was sort of drawing information from him. If they're like, I feel like Will has to be used for more. And there's, from that point, like, there's things we'll probably talk about later, he is acting weird, and it's whether he's acting weird or just acting bad, as in, as an actor, bad acting.
Which, again, we're not going to know until the finale airs, really. So, Hopper, Eleven, and everyone arrive in the real world, meet up with Joyce. Obviously, they learn about Will. 11, therefore, is going to go into the Upside Down to try
Not
and
much of
find
a
him.
reaction to 8 from anyone else. Here's another superhuman, by the way, but she's kind of on her side, but we're kind of a little bit cautious. But, like, look, guys, it's 8. It's Elle's sister, if you're going to say that.
Yeah.
And they're all just kind of like...
Hello.
Okay, anyway, so... like,
Yeah, there's a lot of that, which again leads us into
stuff being
this.
cut out.
Yeah, it would appear that a lot has been cut. There is a lot of things where it's like, why would someone not react? Like, that doesn't make sense. So we then have, like I said, 11 goes in to find Will. She gets to him fairly easily. Like, I was kind of like a little bit too easily. And then, you know, you have probably the scene from the trailer that everyone picked up on, which is the demo dogs are sent after Max in the hospital. Yeah. Robin and Lucas have gone to the hospital.
Yep.
Robin is running to her girlfriend, Vicky. And Lucas has obviously gone to try and wake Max up again, playing the song like, now's the time to wake up, sort of thing. Yeah. What did you think? Because it's funny, because people's reaction to this is like polar opposites to the conversation between Vicky and Robin, as Robin tells her everything.
In a show that normally has some, you know, comic relief moments, and this season kind of hasn't, it's all been kind of at one level. This was one of those scenes that, there was sort of an element of, you know, stress because the Demodogs were coming, but it was still a funny scene and honestly a valid reaction to finding everything out. Because I feel like some people get on with it a bit too easily and are a little bit too relaxed about it.
So the funny thing to me is like that was kind of where I was. It made me laugh, kind of smile. Her saying like, clearly you're a drug addict. Clearly you have issues.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I get it. Like, there was medication stolen. You know it was her. You so put 2 and 2 together. She's coming out with this absolutely batshit story. But then the flip side is like, but Robin says it to her like, literally, we're in a town that's been taken over.
The ground opened up.
The ground opened up, and yet you're finding what I'm saying unbelievable. But there is this kind of like public dissidence with stuff like this. It's like the government have moved in, this was something, and we're just keeping an eye on you, everything's fine. You just carry on, like, oh, okay, everything's fine. They said everything's fine.
Yeah.
Someone saying to you, well, actually, there's this other dimension, and there's monsters, you know, whatever. Of course, like most tropes and things, the minute she's kind of thinking she's completely crazy, a Demodog comes around the corner. Robin's got 2 military police trying to arrest her. The Demodog quickly makes light work of them, which was messy. So those 2 are running. I did like the whole kind of trying to ring the room, and her clarity of thought of like, can they understand English? No. Then this doesn't need to be private. Like, it's the intercom.
Although I do wonder how many, because obviously that's what alerted Karen to it. How many other people are there like, Demodogs? She was Lucas. What the? Who is on this right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, again, and this is very funny, but a lot of people just were like, "What the hell, bloody kids!" Just went back to sleep. Like, bloody kids playing on the intercom. Shocking. But yeah, Lucas obviously hears this over the intercom. He then picks Max up, which we then learn the actual actor was really carrying her around for all of this.
as well as the boombox.
Still playing, running up that... I mean, they're still running up that hill.
Yeah, she's so close to
so close.
making a deal with God and getting him to swap their places.
All of that. And so, Lucas, like, trying to take... Now, Demodog finds them. He's in the elevator, pressing the button. The dog's getting closer. And then he kicks the dog away, which a lot of people found unrealistic. I don't know.
I didn't realise he kicked it at first, because you don't see a leg in any of the shots. I thought the Demodog hit this, like, invisible wall. I was like, is the door closing, but we've not actually, like, what happened? And then I saw online people be like, "Ugh, he kicked him. He's not that powerful." I was like, I feel like the amount of distance the Demodog went back, I don't think he kicked him that hard.
Yeah.
But I feel like those are a lower creature than a Demogorgon. They're like the next. They are the next one down, and I actually think people this season have been underestimating the difference between a Demogorgon, especially because they've made the Demogorgon so much more powerful this season, and a Demodog. A Demodog's kind of a little bit stupid, so I feel like they're not really thinking. A kick could send him back.
Oh, well, absolutely. Like, I've got no issue. Like, I've actually in my life had an experience where a big dog, was like snarling and coming at me, and I booted it away, and that was sort of went quite a long way because it jumped and I caught it and it went. But so it doesn't feel unrealistic to me. But the difference between like an animal and this is that, like, that thing's pure teeth. Where did he connect? Like,
Yeah, I think...
And so, to me, it's like, there's such a simple thing of, he just needed the door to close and the dog to go smash into the door. Like, you didn't need to do that. He's not a superhero. He's a regular kid.
They always do this in films. They make, like, elevators or, like, lifts, like, close so much slower than they do. Like, God, are they really, like, that shit in the 80s? Were they really that, like...
That shit. Yes, the 80s lift doors were synonymous with being slow. Now, whilst Lucas is keeping her alive, we have a scene where they head down with Robin.
Trying to find a back way out. And
they are hiding in, like, this basement laundrette area. And he's still playing the song.
That annoyed me. I was like, look... if she wakes up from this because of Kate Bush, but she then gets eaten by a Demodog, it's not really going to be that useful. Turn the song off and put it back on later.
I 100% agree with you. I thought his logic was so flawed because he's been going and visiting her, playing the song, then leaving. No one's playing the song then.
Yeah.
Like, what, you're not thinking straight. So yeah, I completely agree with that. That was flawed logic for me, and very frustrating. Did you pick up on so I don't know if this was... It's got to be done deliberately, I think. But the Demodogs jumping into that room, the way they were hiding, was very, very similar to Jurassic Park.
I didn't realise until other people pointed it out, because I've only ever seen Jurassic Park once, maybe twice, I think.
The only thing with it that was kind of strange to me was it's an early 90s film, and every other film reference they've ever made and hidden in here has all been 80s. So I just kind of like, maybe it wasn't as deliberate, maybe we're just kind of putting two and two together, but
yeah.
I don't know. Now, as you said, Mrs. Wheeler hears the intercom. Mrs. Wheeler's dragging herself around to try and get involved.
Yeah.
Still very poorly, should be in bed resting. She spots like the small oxygen tanks to one side.
Yeah.
Takes one, puts it in a dryer and sets the dryer going so it makes a load of clunking noises. The demodogs head to the dryer because they hear the noise, and of course the tank
Kaboom.
explodes, killing the demodogs. You then have hot dogs. Mrs. Wheeler for the win. I mean, what the hell? Just
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fair play. Can't
the Wheeler family, other than Mr. Wheeler,
walk them down wheelers. Yeah.
yeah, absolute carnage. What do you think to... I mean, she obviously needs to stay in the hospital. What did you think to that whole kind of her wanting to go with them? And
Well, I think they just wanted to give her more lines, because occasionally she'd stand there and be like, and then out of nowhere she'd just say like a quick line of dialogue, and I was like, oh, has your throat recovered?
magically, yeah.
But she should have, I think staying's the right call. There's too many people in this gang anyway. We kind of, bless her, she can be a badass, but we don't need a weak link if she's just kind of shuffling along.
A weak link. Max and Holly find Max's portal.
And then they decide to sit down and have a picnic, have a nice chat. They give each other their life story. They decide to, have a dance,
There are some hilarious edits on TikTok of things I did whilst Max waited to go into her portal. Now, me and you have a slight disagreement on this.
Yeah.
I really think Max is bang out of order leaving that child. I know she's been stuck in there years. I know that she is desperate to get back. But there was just something, like you said, about, all of us are kind of forgetting that Derek and Ollie and all that are like 7, you're supposed to be 7 years old. And Max is like, okay, so I'm going to go there because you can see that I'm there. All my friends are waiting for me and I'm going to be safe and I'm good. However, young child, you are going to wake up in the upside down, probably, strapped into Vecna's line. It just felt very kind of, oh dear.
Max didn't really know where she was. She just assumed it was upside down. Yeah. And right now the upside down doesn't have many bad creatures in it because they're all in the abyss with Vecna. Yeah. So her kind of thing was just find your house. We'll find somewhere safe. We'll find you. But with everything she knows, I feel like at least one of them had to get out. She's got information and knowledge about things which would be useful. Her staying, and because if she can't go with Holly through her portal, so Holly would they'd either both stay there and continue their little chat show, or they just
So what did you think to Holly the heroic?
I was bored. I didn't really like the amount of screen time Holly had as a minor character, and I get it was kind of needed, and she was with Max. I was just so over her.
And Max, absolutely sprinted to get to the thing.
Light jog, at best.
It drove people insane.
But I've seen people compare it to the season 4 one.
Yeah. And
she is proper come on. But at that point, she's doing a halfway. If you want to, take your time, maybe you're a little apprehensive, you're nervous, what if it doesn't work? Then maybe go for a light walk. Either that or sprint. You don't sort of just semi-jog. Come on.
No, I'm with you. She does awaken, however. She manages to do that. She is in the real world again in her body. Her body, of course, has been in a coma, so...
She's not blind.
Not function. Now, she's not blind, which I know you were kind of pushing for.
I know, I was like, that's kind of a contingency thing. And now, she's not blind, and I'm not as annoyed as I thought I'd be if that happened. Other people are more annoyed.
Yeah.
Online. But, yeah. Although I do think there's some, she kind of sits up by herself, helped by Lucas, and sort of is able to wrap her arms around him. But then later on, she's a bit more.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of like disparity between like how much she's able to move. Because Vicky comes in and is like, "Oh, your body, you're gonna be."
Yeah, so Vicky's been added to the team. We now have a nurse.
Yeah.
which is useful, medic. But again, the numbers of the team are growing exponentially. Mr. Clark and his sensor, it works with all the balloons. Now, anybody who's been listening to the Squawk radio station, which has been on global in the UK and digital radio around the world, will know that they've been talking about this non-stop with their Hawkins update, with the local school's science experiment on balloons is floated away, but don't worry, they're still tracking the data. And so when that happened, I was like, oh, you bastards, you've been telling me that for a month. But yeah, so that was kind of amusing. Now, we do have, everyone gets together. Everyone's kind of reunited.
Yep.
Big team.
No one's that surprised to see Max wakes up from her coma. Hopper's there like, hey kid. Yeah. She's not like, oh, you're not dead. No, just kind of, Mr. Clark's not surprised he's not dead.
Yeah.
Vicky, she's not surprised he's not dead.
I mean, does she know him? Yeah, there was
he was, the town hero. He was chief of police. Let's be real, pretty much everyone knew him.
Yeah. He's kind of a big deal.
Because he was meant to be dead.
What did you think to 8? So we're going to try and focus on little bits. So 8 is telling 11. I'm going to keep to the numbers because her name bugs me. 8 telling 11. None of this will end until we're gone as well. Basically, I get the logic. It's very, very flawed. I kind of get it to an extent. But then I also feel like, at the end of the day, if 11 runs away... Yeah. So Mike basically says to 11, like, once we're done with this, we're going to get away so no one can ever find you, etc., etc., which is obviously what he wants, and she seems to be very on board with that. 8, however, is of the opinion that the military is never going to stop hunting you for your blood, and if they catch you and get your blood, they're going to create more numbers. This is just going to carry on and on and on. She even does a story and kind of demonstrates that when she tried to escape from that lab, they were using her blood with pregnant women and stuff. Yeah. But with 11 being as close to Henry as any of them ever were, she's very much the one they're after. So we finally kind of learn what this doctor is doing, what all that is about. We see that doctor, and I think this is just a little side note, and I think it's worth pointing out, absolutely rough up a soldier who is clearly, been having a tough time. The guy's
been tortured by L.
Yeah, tortured by L. He's been busted up. He was part of the Demogorgon attack. He's scarred. This guy is angry. And he's then been sent with soldiers into the Upside Down to hunt L. I think it's worth pointing that out because something tells me that's going to play a big part in the finale. There's going to be a confrontation there. But yeah, the 8 and the 11 thing, to me, it's like jumping fandoms a second. It's like Thanos in the MCU. His whole philosophy, you understood, there's too many mouths to feed, there's not enough resources, so I'm going to click my fingers and 50% of all life will vanish, and then the 50% that remains will have all of these resources.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I kind of see what you're saying, but click your damn fingers and make the resources unlimited. You don't need to mass murder half the galaxy, you can go the other way.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like 8's logic in this is a bit Thanos, which is, we just need to die. Okay, I've done...
Yeah, and the way she's going about it, a lot of people are, not liking the way she's calling Henry brother, and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing with that. Now, Dustin brings about an explanation, and when he does this explanation, it does actually kind of trigger a thing, which I think... so her... the name she's kind of picked is Kali, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when Dustin does his explanation, he, of course, because they've used D&D all along, like the Upside Down, etc.,
Yeah.
he points out that, okay, you've got our world, Hawkins, where our world is. Then you've got the Upside Down, and the Upside Down is actually a bridge to another world, another dimension.
Dimension X.
Dimension X,
But they're coining it the Abyss.
And he's coining it the Abyss. Now, the minute he said that, which is a D&D reference again, and this point, Mr. Clark loved that, by the way. He was like, oh, that's like, everyone's looking at him like, seriously, dude.
Oh, my Dustin, my Dustin!
Yeah, my D&D bro. And it's suddenly kind of like, I was like, well, hang on a minute. The Abyss, I like, because I'm not a massive D&D lore guy, but I remember seeing a video a while back about a big D&D player talking about Stranger Things, saying these are the things I think we could see in the finale.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, if they mention the Abyss, then straight away this should come into it and this should come into it, and I think this character which had been forgotten. And I was like, so it triggered that memory, so I went looking for it. And sure enough, I found it, and what the guy who laid this video out basically said is there is a character in D&D which has the same name as 8 and comes from the Abyss.
Yeah.
Do you think this is I don't think it's going to be coincidence, because you don't name a character, create things like this without it, but do you think it's just like...
But we know she's from the lab. She's from a pregnant trial, 11. So I think it's more likely to be a connection to the Abyss rather than, being from and all of that. There's theories of her being, the Mind Flayer and all of that. I'm not sure with her. I feel like she might just be what she seems to be and just...
I mean, again, it's like there's so much there we're looking at. I mean, you've got Will, you've got 8, you've got these different things going on. So there is a plan. And who comes up with the plan?
Steve.
So the plan is that we know Vecna's going to use the children to bring the worlds closer together, to collapse them into each other.
Yeah.
In essence, the Abyss will smash our world.
Which I still think the children, I know they're weak and that's his thing. How is he? Is he just getting energy from them? Is it based on vibes? What is...
Yeah, that's not really been explained. It's just kind of...
they're weak. Okay.
Well, he's able to take control of them because they're weak, but he then
So is there going to be just 12 little season 2 wills going about that are
Yeah, because he basically points out in this, and we learn in this, that he used Will to build the tunnels under Hawkins, using Will's mind to do it all night, every night. And so having the 12 children, he can do more, but it's not really fully explained. But
cutscene ?
Oh, maybe. But with the worlds colliding, Steve points out to get into the Abyss, they've just got to wait until it comes close enough in the Upside Down to climb the radio tower.
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to get into the Abyss, find Vecna, rescue the kids, take him out.
Kaboom.
Yeah, save it, then fall back, destroy the bridge, therefore severing the connection forever.
Yeah.
Save the world. Steve's plan's good. Everyone's on board.
Yep.
Including Dustin, which was nice. They then start getting ready for their plan, etc., etc. We have the big moment which caused so much controversy online, which is Will's coming out moment. Now, I'm going to be very careful how I word everything with this. I felt it was really unnecessary to do it in a big group setting, and it felt very performative to me, not realistic. It just felt very over the top.
I thought, because it was initially just going to be him and Joyce, he was going to confess to his mum.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's going to be a nice scene.
I
thought
yeah.
Mike coming, either being involved, just them two, they're kind of the main ones. They're the main two he's scared to find out about knowing. That's the whole motivation for him suddenly doing it, is Vecna's gone, you've got a secret, I can use this against you, you know, fear, I'll use that against you. And so his thing is, right, I need to not be scared of this, and then he can't use it against me. Yep. So I either thought him just telling Joyce, or Joyce and Mike, or telling Joyce and Mike overhearing, something like that would have been so nice. But getting the whole gang, did 8 really need to be there? Mr. No. Your middle school science teacher, Erica? I don't think Erica cares.
No.
Maybe, or what could have been nice is the original like squad of kids, maybe his mum and Jonathan. If you want a bigger gang, so that at the end they can all hug and, you know, hug it out. If that's what you want, then have a mini big gang, not the whole squad.
It felt performative, and therefore it felt a bit kind of. So, I was reading a bit online where people were saying, yeah, but it wasn't about him coming out. It was about him telling everyone, so that way it couldn't be used against him. Like, everyone had to know, so Vecna couldn't get in his head and be like, oh, you know, Hopper doesn't know your secret or whatever. Like,
Hopper's homophobic. He's gonna kill you when he finds out.
Yeah, so it was this kind of this weird thing, and like I got no issue. Like I thought when they did a similar like
with Robin
and Steve, I thought it was brilliant, like so well done. So with this, again, I don't know, and I'm not going to know until I watch the finale, if this was genius or if it was crap.
Yeah, because there's been the acting in it. Noah Schnapp it wasn't the best, and I said this to you. It's strange. The scenes which are more unrealistic, like the ones where he's, you know, with Vecna or taking control of Vecna, or like in moments like that where it's like very
supernatural kind of moments.
It becomes way more believable than when they're just having like a conversation.
Yeah. Like
this scene felt so awkward and disjointed, and I get to a point it needs a sense of awkwardness, but the disjointed almost felt like trying to remember lines.
Yeah.
And then there was the thing about the place and milkshakes. What's it called? Maldives?
Yeah. So this is the weird thing, which is he basically says a load of stuff like, oh, you know, I want to bike to this place and have milkshakes like we used to. And the place he says is a hardware store.
Yeah, where Joyce worked.
Joyce works, worked. However, what many people may not know, because they've not seen the show, but the stage show, is that particular place was still called that, but was a cafe.
Like a diner.
And therefore, it was like not a general store, it was a diner when Henry Creel would go there.
And you could buy milkshakes
there. And so that scene at the moment, like that scene in my mind was horrible. It was so all over the place and didn't feel real. It felt really kind of forced.
Yeah, it went on for so long. It was an awkward watch, and it felt like an unnecessary break from the action, which really slowed the pacing and everything down.
And this is like one of those things where I'm not homophobic in any way, shape or form, and I know you're not, and it just I knew when I was watching it, this episode's going to get hammered from certain quarters because of this scene, because him being gay has not been a secret. Like him being gay has been the whole way through it. It didn't need an almost 10-minute stop in everything, like, because
the stakes were building to the finale, and that's what we needed, because this like section has been for the most part fairly slow, so we needed this build. We needed to get excited, worried, all the emotions ready for the finale. And then it was like, wait guys, Will's got a story to tell everyone. Will has an announcement. Put down your weapons, come sit round the sofa, have a chat. And
that really did kill the momentum. But like I said, when you've seen the finale, this is either going to be, yeah, that was pointless. That whole scene was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be genius.
Yeah, and there's been other things about how Will's been stood very similar to how Henry stands and how Billy stood when he was possessed by the mind flare. Is that just him standing, or is that... And there's that's the thing with this season. There's a lot of, is it a mistake or bad writing, or is it like something really clever that we're not going to get until the finale?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It is literally a case of when the finale's landing. So, like, these 3 episodes, like I said, I enjoyed them, but they fell a little bit flat for me, and they had these moments which didn't make, like, story-wise, didn't add up to me. I think when we watched the finale, these 3 episodes could feel very different. Like, all of a sudden, you could be like, okay, that's genius.
I think it would have been better to release the finale at the same time. And I get they've done it because they want to have the cinema showing us, because it is basically a film length. Yeah. It's, it's 2 hours. But, like, it then kind of, if it is something where it's really smart and you need the finale to basically be able to understand these 3 episodes, they're bringing the hate on themselves.
Yes and no, because there's this old adage of no publicity is bad, and
no press is bad press.
Yeah, and so you have got a week or so of people relentlessly analysing, talking like podcasters like us, content creators going over this, and everyone's going, like, there's no, like, I've not seen one person, like, I've seen a lot of people go, I really didn't like these 3 episodes. Are you going to watch the finale? Yeah. There's no one who's gone, oh, this show's rubbish, I'm not going to watch the final episode now. You're not losing your audience. It feels like a kind of, like I said, this could be genius, or it could be crap. Like after the finale, and there is a real fear over it, because, like,
yeah, I'm anxious for the finale, but not in like a, oh my god, what's going to happen? Yeah. Like a, oh my god, is this going to like ruin the show? Which
there's a real thing now, which is, will last forever, which is what happened with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was the biggest show on the planet. Even if you've never watched an episode, everyone's heard of it. Like,
everyone knows what happened with the ending as well. It's become like a coined.
Well, it is like
term.
In TV now. It is a thing. Like, we need to avoid what happened with Game of Thrones. You only got to look at the sheer amount of press the Duffer Brothers are doing to know that they're worried about that, because the showrunners for Game of Thrones had their entire careers ahead of them and lost it all. There's one last thing from this episode I wanted to focus on or highlight before we wrap, and that is basically the whole team, to execute their plan, need to get into the Upside Down. They need a vehicle to execute their plan. So they need to get through this entrance. Murray's driving, etc. Mr. Clark has his kind of nerdy moment where he's able to open the gates. It's all kind of fun, like the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
But they literally launch an attack on the army, killing soldiers, which...
Nancy.
I thought, Nancy and Hopper.
Unnecessary.
Like, straight up Rambo. I like the action scenes. It's kind of fun, 80s action movie, but I am finding it hard to believe that trained soldiers are being taken out so easily by... Nancy.
Hopper maybe, trained soldier, fine, everything.
Yeah.
But Nancy, popping out her head above the van, she's made herself quite a easy target.
She was very Rambo in that moment. But what I didn't understand really is why they had to do that when they got a member of their team now who can literally create an illusion and make them invisible.
Yeah, you said this to me, and I'm like, I feel like it is a lack of trust thing, but I also think because in their heads, both 8 and 11 are going to be going against Vecna, and they want them to be at their full strength. I think that's probably it.
Fully charged batteries.
I'm not liking how literally they've taken the battery analogy made in season 1 by, like, Mike. Like him just trying to explain it to Hopper when no one really knew what her powers were like.
Yeah.
And so I was just a bit like, so she drinks, an energy drink, and now she's like, 75% charged. Like, it's been taken a bit literally this season, and that's kind of irked me.
Yeah, killed that. Is there any other bits or things you wanted to highlight from the episodes?
I will say, a lot of people are hating on the group of kids with Henry and how much screen time they've had. I actually don't think they've had that much. There's other people that have had, more screen time unnecessarily. I think we've needed to know where the kids are at. But the scene with the kids, like, so Holly comes back and Henry's saying to the kids, like, oh, Max, bad person, is one of the monsters, tricked her, we need to get her back on side. So they're all trying to convince her, and then Holly walks over to the speaker. I think, oh, she's going to play the song, she's going to try and get out, she's going to try and convince them to go with her. Because Derek, bless him, she's asked for Derek's backup. Derek's still scared shitless, so he's not doing anything.
Yeah. Dipshit Derek.
Delightful Derek.
Yep.
Or, dangerous Derek, next episode, we'll see. But she picks up the speaker, clocks her best friend round the head with it, which I was like, whoa, okay. And now I'm, like, slightly engaged.
Yeah.
Like, that caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, she's making a run for it. But then the flip of her, like, friends or classmates, like...
It goes dark.
Like, it went really dark of, like, get the bitch, or, like, kill this bitch. They're shoving it... Like, they're actually going for, like, killing things. They're, like, strangling her, beating her, her necklace breaks. Yeah. Oh, no, Holly the heroic's gone. Yeah. Like, all of that. And they, like, proper beat the shit out of her. I was like, these 7-year-olds are brutal. I work with people this age. That is my job. If they ever started, like, doing that to, like, what?
Yeah, you're nervous now.
Yeah. I didn't know they were capable of that.
There's that whole thing. How many 7-year-olds could you beat up? Well, when you're 7 yourself, not many. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that scene out, actually, because that was quite that shocked me. It shocked me in a laughing way when she hit her with the radio.
Yeah,
that
same.
was like, oh my god, that's amazing. But then how dark that went.
The kids, like how much Henry has gotten into their heads with that mindset. But
and then of course we had
them around the table.
And now we begin. Do you think it's significant about Derek keeping his eyes closed or not?
I don't want to look too much into it, so I'm going to say no.
Okay, we'll wait and see.
I'm going to say no.
But look, that is our show. We will be back once the finale is aired, and everyone's had a few days to digest it. But yeah, this is just one episode, a film-length episode.
And then Stranger Things is done.
Yeah, Stranger Things is done, and Stranger Things will wrap along with it. So,
crazy.
Until next time, kid, you take care. Thank you so much for everybody for listening. I know a lot of people enjoyed our first show, so hopefully this will be good as well. Get in touch with us. You can get in touch via all of our socials or the podcast apps, or you can email directly sam@stuffandthangspodcast.com to let us know your thoughts on these 3 episodes and your thoughts of the finale as it comes in as well. Until next time, everybody, you all take care.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.
Eat your damn pie.